Welcome back to my channel. I am Michelle Mills. I'm a certified health coach and I help you guys with eczema and TSW heal naturally. So today we are talking all about TSW versus eczema. What are the signs and symptoms of each, and how would you be able to determine if you had eczema or if you had TSW? So let's dive into where on your body these would show up. If you are somebody who only has eczema on their hands or only has eczema on your feet, and the way that your eczema looks is blistered, it can crack and bleed, it's very, very likely that you have eczema and not TSW. And for those of you that do not know, TSW stands for topical steroid withdrawal, which basically is something that occurs after use of topical or oral steroids. The body goes through a lot of changes when you withdraw from using those. So there are some people who have used steroids very, very consistently for a long time. It's usually those people that will have the most severe and textbook TSW. There's people who used it kind of sporadically and they were in fact able to not experience TSW. I would be one of those people. I used steroids from when I was little up until middle school, and then I used it maybe a tiny drop once or twice when I was in high school. I didn't know what they were at the time. I didn't know how severe of a condition I could have from using steroids. But I never actually went through TSW, thankfully, but there are a lot of people out there who have to suffer through TSW. So a lot of people don't actually know whether they're experiencing TSW or whether they're experiencing eczema. And so one of the things that are my telltale signs is where on the body it's located, okay? So like I said, if you have it just on the hands, just on the feet, it's a specific type of eczema. You can actually heal that pretty easily, and that's not usually typical of TSW to only have it on the hands and on the feet. If you have, well, we can dive into Candida first. So I've been able to figure out through talking to you guys, through coaching clients, through my own experience, people who have Candida-induced eczema will have eczema in these places, which would be the insides of the elbows and the backs of your knees. Those are really common spots. You could get it around your mouth or on your eyelids. Candida, if it's very severe, can end up on your back or on your torso. It can also show up on your inner thighs and show up on your wrists and your hands. However, the telltale signs for me that somebody's going through TSW as far as location is if you're experiencing flares on your chest, neck, and face. And by face, especially if it's on like your cheeks, usually Candida will not spread to the cheeks. And so when I meet people who have like major facial flaring, it's TSW, topical steroid withdrawal. I've had a lot of clients with TSW. It's a very difficult thing to get through naturally, but it's not an impossible thing to get through naturally. Some other symptoms of TSW is that your skin would be, so a lot of these are kind of like I have to go back and forth because you'll hear why. So people with TSW often go through phases where they're oozing pretty severely. So oozing, it could be gold oozing, it can crust over. Oozing is just a huge sign of TSW. However, people with eczema can ooze. So I've had periods of time where I've had different patches of my eczema ooze, but it's not usually to the same severity, usually, as when people with TSW ooze. The oozing is usually, in most cases, not an infection, especially if it's that clear, golden looking color that crusts over. That's usually the way that your skin is cleaning itself. So it's not to be a huge alarm there. People with TSW are actually, either either, I will say, eczema or TSW, severe eczema, I would say, are prone to getting infections. So it's really, really important that you take very good care of your skin. You are just monitoring, making sure that you're paying attention to signs of infection. That's just something that you need to be aware of if you're somebody going through what could be TSW. You can be very, very prone to infection. Now, some other signs of TSW are severe flaking. So eczema flakes too, okay? I'll put that out there. Eczema also flakes. I've had a very flaky arm before. However, the severity of the flakiness is so bad with TSW. And yes, people can have severe eczema. Okay, I'll get to that a little bit later. I'll explain what I mean. But severe flakiness, like your skin is just shedding. And having very thin skin is also a symptom of TSW. The steroids can actually thin your skin. And so thin skin is a symptom of TSW. So the flakiness can cause you to have to vacuum your bedroom, your clothes can be full of flakes. I mean, TSW really, truly, flaking is a major, major, major part of somebody's life when they're going through TSW. What I was gonna say earlier when I got excited and said, I'll wait to say this, was actually that in your process of healing it naturally, this can be another telltale sign of putting you into the category of eczema or putting you into the category of TSW. And that is the rate at which your skin will heal. People who can change their diet and see a pretty dramatic difference. So for example, usually when you have candida-induced eczema, it'll heal from the inside out. So it kind of looks like ringworm. And if you're actually successful in dieting, so I don't mean dieting like the normal world means dieting. I mean like eczema dieting, like going on an elimination diet, figuring out what your triggers are, getting on an anti-inflammatory diet, healing your body naturally, like the diet that I talk about on my channel. If that diet is actually showing you good results, it's likely that you're in the eczema category. Eczema can go away in 3 months. My severe eczema went away almost entirely in 3 months. TSW is very stubborn, and TSW will usually not respond that well to diet. I'm not saying in all cases. There are some people who they can get on certain diets and get into a groove and like their TSW really heals, but it's actually a lot more stubborn. And so if you are one of those people who are saying like, I've tried every elimination diet and nothing's working, like I'm still suffering, like that might push you into the category of TSW. And with that, I do have a little bit of tips for you guys dealing with TSW and trying to deal with diet, which is one, in your first stages of TSW. So this, I would say, is 1 to 6 months after you stopped using steroids. That's my guess, at least. You are likely to have an overworked liver, non-alcoholic fatty liver. So implementing things to heal a non-alcoholic fatty liver, like going on a low histamine diet, nitric oxide levels can be really, really high in your body in the beginning stages of TSW. So that actually leads me into another symptom of TSW, which is severe redness, like just huge blotches, like your whole chest could be red, your whole face could be flaring and red and itchy. That is very, very common with TSW. There's one other spot on your body that TSW will show up, and it's called red sleeve syndrome, and usually you'll see it like this area, so it'll look like you're wearing like a glove where you just put your thumb in, and so that's really, really typical of TSW. I've also seen people with candida-induced eczema get some eczema on their wrist, but it doesn't look as precise as TSW red sleeve. People with going through TSW will also see a flare right here as well. That's really, really common. So neck, chest, face, right here, wrist. It can spread to be full body. A lot of eczema or TSW warriors do experience full body TSW. And that's kind of the unfortunate situation here, which is a lot of people with eczema, if their doctors hadn't have prescribed the topical steroids. This is not in all cases. There are people who have had to use topical steroids to make it out of really dark periods of time with their eczema. However, usually people start with pretty mild eczema and it could be healed naturally. But with that use of steroids, what could have been a 6-month-long process of healing now becomes a years-long process. One other thing with TSW is that it usually flares with stress. Anybody can flare with stress, but people with TSW are especially sensitive to stress. And so that's gonna cause a lot of the inflammation, a lot of the flaring. You guys actually deal with issues with your adrenal gland. And in the description, I'm gonna put a couple resources for TSW, like ITSAN, ITSAN. It's a really good resource for people going through topical steroid withdrawal. So while it can be tricky to discern whether you have eczema or you have TSW, I hope what you're learning in this video can help you kind of put things into categories and figure out, okay, it sounds like I'm leaning more towards TSW, or no, I'm leaning more towards eczema. There's another type of eczema that does exist on your face, and so it can be kind of near the hairline. This is called seborrheic dermatitis. It can appear in a lot of different areas. That will not respond to diet, but that usually does not get as severe as TSW and doesn't usually go through that severe flaking, severe oozing that TSW is so known for. So seborrheic dermatitis has to do with the oils that your skin produces. It is more of a topical issue than an inside-out issue. The healing from the inside out is basically atopic dermatitis, which I think mostly has to do with candida and stress, and that's what a majority of people are dealing with. Inflammation, basically, leaky gut. There's a lot going on with atopic dermatitis, but it really is yes, you can get severe eczema. I had severe eczema, and it was basically severe candida, and I was able to heal by diet, and it healed so fast too. And so if I had TSW, this might really help you guys understand a little bit better. If I was experiencing TSW in 2017 and that wasn't an eczema flare, I'll put a picture here of what that flare looked like in 2017. It was all over my arms. It was spreading really, really fast. It was bright red. I was having severe reactions to salicylates in food, and basically what my protocol is healing leaky gut, detoxing my liver, and balancing my immune system, and basically killing off candida. So that was my whole protocol. Within 3 months, my severe flare dramatically reduced. The itching stopped, the discoloration went away. I had normal arms within 4, 5, 6 months, okay? If I had experienced TSW, it could have started in my arms, it would have shown up on my face, it would have shown up on my neck and my chest, and I would have experienced a lot more flaking than I did, and it would have came back. And it would have came back in the same areas, it would have been flaring. So for example, I'm 2017, it's new now 2022. There's a lot of years in between those two. And if I was experiencing TSW in the way that a lot of people do, I probably was using, this is a hypothetical situation. Before 2017, hypothetically, I would have been using topical steroids irregularly, but using them at least once a week. I would have a flare on my arm, it would feel itchy, I would apply it. And I did this for years, hypothetically, okay? I hope you guys are with me here. So let's say from 2014 to 2017, let's say I had been using steroids. I got prescribed them, I was using them every day for 2 months. and then I stopped. And then after a couple of months, it came back, and it came back worse. And then I started applying it every once in a while. And then I was using it once a week, and then my eczema started getting worse. And then I started using it more, and then I felt desperate, so I went to the dermatologist. I went to the dermatologist and I showed them my skin, and they're like, oh, you need a stronger steroid. And so they prescribed me a stronger steroid. It works, my skin clears up. And then I start tapering off of it like they tell you to do. And then my eczema looks even worse after that. And then I have red skin and I feel horrible. My skin feels like I want to rip it to pieces, and it's super red and it's super itchy, and I don't know what to do with myself. And now I'm 3 months out of not using steroids, and I'm getting on this diet, the one that I told you worked for my eczema, right? This hypothetical situation's all TSW. I try to get on that diet, nothing's working. It's actually getting worse. It's spreading, it's now on my chest, my neck, my face. Every night I go to bed, I'm just shedding skin onto my bed, okay? There's a dramatic difference between the experience I had with my severe eczema and the experience that somebody would have through TSW. And so I hope through that description, you're now able to discern which category that you might be in. With all that being said, this video is getting a little long now. I'm gonna wrap it up here. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Instagram and ask me any questions. I'm always posting a Q&A to my story. My Instagram story is my most informational area that you guys can check out. So, with all that being said, I will see you guys in my next video next week. I've been posting twice a week lately. Hooray! Alright guys, I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you're okay. I hope this video was informative. I'll leave in the description box information for people with TSW, and I will see you in my next one.
I like crashing waves, but I wanna see them at first light after a long night, and see the sky take shape.